Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are back on the map Aurelia and we have two contestants here today. Mr. Andy starting in a very forward central position here with only two metal extractors in red going Armada today. I can very much predict that he's going to build a bot lab, whereas his opponent Mr. C3B0 in blue playing Cortex today. Already started off with one solar in 2 wins. Has 3 metal points in this starting position, a little further back than Andy. This is going to give him a lot more metal to start off with. Now, as we take a zoom in on the map, we currently still have map extension off for now. Don't forget to go reach out to the poll on the community tab on the channel and let me know your opinion on this. This is the side edge here that we've got selected, and on this map it is a very dark blue color, so hopefully that should be fine. Now this map earlier we've seen it a couple of times on the channel. It is a pretty good high eco map, and as you can clearly see here, broke into what would be 3 lanes, a water lane and 2 land lanes. These hills on the side here can be very effective for artillery to bomb each other's bases. And the set of metal extractors over here on the water side, not often very heavily contested at all. Not only that, but this middle section here, very important for any sort of radar coverage. And as we zoom in on here, Mr. Andy is about to get some early ticks out. C3BO with only just spawning a grunt, and Andy was not able to kill that construction bot with his early tick. Now C3BO's commander is placed in a somewhat unopportune position here. His laser would not be able to shoot anything in that sort of an arc from where he was. Andy attempting there to go after the construction bot again, but unsuccessful, and this tick will get mopped up pretty quickly. And that is a relatively early construction turret here from C3. He doesn't have any form of build power other than that in the base, whereas if we look here at Andy with 2 construction bots and actually rushing into a Centurion here, which is a bit of a ballsy move. This will be amazing though against the grunts, leaving his base completely and utterly undefended though. This is a very risky play here by Andy. You can see him expanding very quickly. Andy here with stuff going off to the left and right. His commander to the left, engineers to the right. And luckily enough for Andy, this Centurion gets out just in time to grab this grunt as it approaches. Like literally 2 or 3 seconds later, and that would have been it. Andy would have been taking a lot of damage. Now both players on this map do tend to go bots fairly early, getting these metal extractors around the map as quick as possible, and then switching over to vehicles or tech 2. Most of the time we do see a vehicle transition on this map because it also gives you amphibious constructors to go and hit all these water mexes. However, you know, you could go for aircrafts instead, and being that C3BO is Cortex, we may see a air lab for C3BO for the shurikens. Now Andy only just building his first LLT right here next to this cliffside. Does have a radar, so he's going to see all of C3BO's units coming, as well as C3BO going into the middle here. I might just call C3BO C3 just for ease of talking here, as that's going to get a mouthful very quickly. And obviously might accidentally saying 3PO because of, you know, everyone loves Star Wars, so yeah. Meanwhile, in this stage here, nothing much happening. C3 has already actually transitioned over to thugs. That's quite a costly transition, but able to build them up in a fairly good time. Currently sat on a little bit of metal as well, so may as well make use of that. Whereas we look over here, Andy going for a completely different ideology here. Andy literally just has these 2 Centurions. That is his only combat unit. That is it. That's all he's got. The rest of it is just construction bots. Very, very ballsy play here from Andy. Planning to just basically outscale his opponent on economy. Also, as you note here, Andy not expanding too far on the left. He's actually just given up ground, which is 4 additional metal points on this side, as well as the space in the middle here. As Andy can see C3's stuff in the middle. C3, though, surprisingly not building any form of defense here, being like an anti-air or like a single LLT to kind of protect. Oh, wow. Okay, this is a super... I was about to say, this is a super ballsy plan from C3, but he actually has gone back now. If he does do this with his commander, that's going to be very, very ballsy. But we'll see. C3 currently with some idle constructors, but the transition for shurikens has started as the air lab for a second factory has now been built. When we look at energy produced right now, surprisingly it's fairly even, but it's quickly going up in favor of Andy here as all of those winds start going up. Over here you can see how it's just every like windmill that goes up is a 1% bonus more for Andy. But luckily enough for now, it's kind of even when it comes to everything else. Now, no res bots, no anti-air bots built just yet. And that is going to mean that once those shurikens have reached a good critical mass, C3 is going to have a pretty good ability to push here. At least until this one construction bot back here builds an air defense. Oh, he tried it. We missed it, but he did try it. But with beamers and LLTs there, ain't going to happen. Now, C3 is probably quite happy to let Andy walk a bit closer right now. He doesn't want to use his shurikens just yet. Andy trying to actively tank these Centurions with these resbots here. It might be a little bit too much damage for the resbots to keep up with, but here come the shurikens. And they managed to get both of the Centurions. And that's quite a lot of metal for early 900 metal. Air defenses are going up, though, pretty quickly here. And if we select C3, he does not know there's anything up here. C3 also moving his commander over. But air defenses are rushing out. And they've done their job. The shurikens have quickly turned the tide and managed to take out a big chunk of Centurions, leaving Andy with nothing but crossbows and rocketeers. So, pretty tough there, but Andy now with a transition over to vehicles. Stouts and Janices are the core tier 1 units for Armada. Yes, I see what I did there. And no transition over from C3 yet over to vehicles, which is somewhat surprising. Maybe he's going to resurrect everything. It does seem that's the case. And on the left side, C3 has done pretty good at slowly expanding. Does look like he might be over-investing in LLTs or double LLTs on the right here. He's got no energy to speak of right now. And I could argue that's probably one of his biggest problems at the moment. He is trying to build an advanced solar, which will help a lot. But As of yet, these Janices are going to cause big problems for C3. If he can bait them out successfully with the grunts, so that he's not losing thugs to it, I'm afraid that for C3 that is not happening yet, and a lot of Janus rockets are hitting their marks, and not a single Janus has been killed yet. Great repair work by Andy here, keeping those units alive. And now the slow withdrawal from C3 starts to happen. But look at the metal excess from C3 right now. This is a lot of metal to be wasting. And C3 attempting to get the high ground advantage right now as well. Now that does kind of give Andy a straight path to the base. There's a bit of a weird tactical thing with this map. It's like if you do move up here for the high ground, which is what he's doing right now, you do kind of leave your base open. So it's a bit of a weird kind of thing to this map. Now, his commander is there, and surprisingly no extra use, but Andy's commander, 20% health, 10% health. Andy just managing to get out of that. That was a very, very good play by C3, catching Andy's commander unaware. And that could have been the game right there. Resbots, though, not being used to repair the units that are left alive. Instead, trying to go for Resurrects, which is a bit of a risky play right now. Should probably be focusing on repairing the units he has left. And he just desperately needs more units on the field right now. Artillery units coming out. This is going to try and attempt to counter that long range, as well as pushing him out of that position. But Andy's commander still with only 17% health, in a bit of a dangerous position here. No resbots either nearby to help repair the commander. And the commander again being very close to this front line. Look at the sheer stream on the mini-map, though, of thugs coming out. Resbots idling still, though. Only just starting to go for repairs. It does seem like C3 is going to lose this high ground pretty quickly, though. Just by sheer overwhelming tanks. The time he spent building all of the resbots, rather than pumping out more units, has been a bit of a problem. He was also building a bunch of bombers, which we just actually missed that bombing run, unfortunately. He does get a big chunk of wind damage and both metal extractors in the base, so that was done a little bit sooner. It might have been more of an impact, but unfortunately at this point in the time, not so much. Now, C3's been really struggling with energy pretty much this entire game. Wind is currently down to 6. But you can see here that metal a second and energy a second are currently completely on C3's side right now. Metal produced is only just advantage Andy. But here comes another bombing run. Go for more of the wins. And not really able to make too big a chunk of damage there. But we finally see what C3 spent all his metal on, and that was this Tech 2. Now this is probably a very good call here, getting some long range units in the mix will help hold the line. We do see an air constructor actually over here slowly building up. This AA will stop any further expansion though, as 2 AAs have been built on this ridge line here. 2 raiders as well, surprisingly. Surprising place to build mines. Mines do cause friendly fire, something to be aware of. C3 also currently not building anything out of his Tech 2 lab. Now, there we go. Now he's starting to do something. And still a decent chunk of metal here to be had. A transition to Tech 2 as well coming out from Andy here. probably gonna... I'd like to say we're gonna see hounds. However, saying that, we might just see him go straight to like welders and sharpshooters if he has the energy for it. But Andy knows he needs to transition to Tech 2 now, otherwise he is going to fall behind pretty quickly. And Andy, it looks like he's moving his commander into the middle now to clear out this section in the middle. It's going to remove a lot of vision, though, that C3 has, because without that vision, he's got nothing. This radar, as I was saying earlier on, immense placement. Super, super important. Question is Andy's comm healed up enough to push this LLT? Luckily, for Andy, energy was not quite there yet. And C3 will now be losing that middle section. Ooh. An interesting preparation here for a little side attack with some ducks here. As well as a Juno. C3 may be investing a little bit too much across the board right now. He kind of needs to focus on pumping out units. He thinks he's at an advantage at the moment, which he does have a slight advantage, but with only 4 Sheldons, it's not really enough. And he's kind of... This is his time to shine, right? We'll transition over to Tech 2. This is like the key time when you need to make the most of your Tech 2. It's only a matter of time until your opponent goes Tech 2 once they know. And he's not really making the most of it right now. Both commanders now on this middle island just building laser towers. The artillery that was in the middle now slowly pushing on the left-hand side. Blindly shooting, it seems, at this construction bot. I don't know really what they're shooting at, but they do manage to kill it. But here we see ghosts ready to go. Cloaky spy bots. Another thing that C3 is doing right now, accidentally wasting a lot of build time. He's had one guy on the left, one guy on the right, just stopped doing nothing for a while now. Andy's trying to clear some mines here by just ground firing. Unfortunately, he doesn't know quite where they are. Sorry, unfortunately for Andy, he doesn't know quite where they are. But both players just kind of being relatively chill now. Gunslingers actually coming out from Andy. This is something we don't quite expect to see. And Andy also with a Juno. Very rarely do you see so many Junos, especially in a 1v1, as both players now have one. And C3 really just needs combat units right now. He's invested way too much into like utility stuff, rather than just making the most of his push. Like, he's just got these just single, you know, Tech 1 artillery just slowly pushing his left side. He's just doing nothing about it. Here comes the EMP though. And great EMP by Andy. C3 mistook what happened and pushed all of his units into the attack rather than falling back, and all of the Tech 2 that C3 had has been completely annihilated, and basically actually the entire army the C3 had has now been annihilated, and this is why he needed to be investing in units. Mines are causing some problems, but not too much really. They're well spaced out though, causing Andy to kind of be unsure as to where he can go. But still, look at all that reclaim. Basically 2k metal reclaim, and the Junos start to fire now as well. And there goes all the mines. How the heck? How did that duck get there? Must have gone like that, I guess. You're just not paying attention to one side for 1 minute, and then all of a sudden a wild duck appears. So what do we have going on in bases? C3 currently trying to push out some fiends here. Interesting choice. He's also completely ignoring this left side, which again is also an interesting choice. Just happily kind of letting his opponent push in. Don't quite know what the plan is for this spy bot over here. No rush from C3 to get any of this reclaim either. Kind of does seem right now that C3 is kind of stalling for ideas. I mean, the Sheldon push was a good idea. He just kind of needed more units. He just didn't have any. And then maybe have some, like, you know, fiends or something to get in front to kind of shield for you. But right now, he's just losing so much ground on the left. And Andy's just freely pushing up with completely undefended artillery. It's only now that Andy's having to run away. Pretty good use of Twilights here, though. If his opponent isn't paying attention, you won't know what's going on. Oh, I bet this guy here is to EMP the defenses, so these fiends can get past. But that won't happen, because the EMP actually manages to get the fiends here. But will this EMP go off here? No, unfortunately not, as the artillery actually end up walking into the cloak instead. And now C3 decides, oh, time to get the heck out of here. Another use we have here, Andy going for some recluses. Again, a very rarely seen unit. Will probably end up getting taken out by this Scorpion, though. Actually, if they go outside of the range of it, it will manage to get by. There are plenty of shurikens, though, ready to go. Recluses do have a little bit of AA, I think, if I remember correctly. Ground-to-ground multi-rocket launch. No, they don't. Also, ducks being pushed into the middle here. Kind of needs to go in with more unified front. He's sending individual ducks in at a time, and then, of course, they're kind of just getting killed. But yeah, C3 is actually doing fairly well here, forcing Andy to kind of just pull back, and this artillery doing an amazing job on these fiends that are EMP'd. Managed to get so many there. But the ducks managed to close out the middle. Recluses managed to get grabbed by the EMPs and do not manage to actually take out a single advanced metal extractor. This is well played. You don't often see recluses used. This is literally their purpose, you know, go over all the terrain and clear out stuff. So, you know, good job actually getting them used. But Sniper Bot's now out on the field, as well as a Fat Boy here from Andy. Now, they're not going to be able to do much against these ducks, though, as they make their way through the water. They are going to run into a massive field of LLTs right next to Andy's comm, so it looks like he's going to use them just to clear up the air defense. To be fair, if they stay in the water, like around here, these guys won't be able to shoot them, and they'll be able to shoot at the Fat Boy and stuff, so a potential loss of units here if Andy doesn't move them. But a huge amount of fiends now being built up. Not really going to work very well versus Fat Boys, because they'll just one-shot all of them. And a very, very ballsy push here from C3 as he attempts to build a Basilisk. This will do a tremendous job versus Andy's base, if that gets built in time. Not only that, but even against the units in the middle. Like, these Fat Boys do not move very quickly. And also these artilleries are also not great. Oh, that's a lot of scouts dead. Basilisk does get built. Unfortunately, it seems to be attacking the units rather than the base. EMP does not go off as it gets detected in time. Basilisk now going for the base. Hits the Tech 2 lab. Second EMP bot does manage to get the Fat Boy and a bunch of welders. C3 looks like he's not even bothering with the units. He's going straight for the base. Just as we said earlier on about the dangers of coming up here, means you leave the base completely undefended. Fat Boy is still doing a great job of taking out these fiends. But with the flanking damage, fiends do a tremendous job. Is the Basilisk going to be able to do enough to do any damage to the base rather than hitting just the factory? The stuff up here does look like it gets cleaned out pretty effectively. And Tech 2 defenses are going up right on the front line now as well. A huge amount of ducks also being built. Not only that, but a shield has actually been built, as well as an anti-nuke from Andy. What the Basilisk really needs right now is the pinpointers. I'm trying to get them up for you here. This will decrease the radar wobble, and that is exactly what he needs. C3 in order to deal with shooting anything that is in the base. But here come the ducks, actually grouping them up fairly well this time. Still spread them out over a massive area rather than like grouping them all up then going in one go. But using the Basilisk here in a good way of taking out these defenses so that the ducks can go up. This left side has been left completely unattended pretty much this entire game. I see. This Basilisk has not actually been set to target anything specific. It seems like it's being set to free fire at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, because he could really do with targeting this a bit more specifically. He could target all of these defenses up here so the ducks can move in, but I'm afraid that is not the case right now. I mean, it is doing some long-range damage. It will slowly kill the units in the middle that are massed up. Okay, I was also not expecting a second Basilisk. C3 currently just got a ridiculous amount of metal and not doing anything with it. He desperately needs to start getting some unit production built and some build power. He is not doing very well on that front. Using his metal, just look how much there is, and he's just sat on it, most of it. And the ducks are about to come up behind the main army. Maybe a bit of a mistake here. You go right into the enemy's production. The one advantage they do have is because they are laser based, they are going to be able to shoot inside that shield regardless. And running back is a bit too late now. Does give him a bit of breathing room, has given C3 a bit of vision into the base. He kind of knows where some stuff is now, knows there's a shield and such. Andy's commander actually also in a somewhat dangerous position here, as he's just got a bunch of LLTs, and that Basilisk is shooting dangerously close to his position. I was about to say, how did that spy bot not get detected yet? And now Dragon's actually being built by C3 here. I don't know whether that's going to work. I have a very strong feeling that he may end up getting taken out here before they get built. Huge amount of shurikens though. Doing a tremendous job at keeping everything locked down. Nowhere near enough anti-air from Andy here, and that actually seems like it has successfully blocked the attack. Look at the spectators thinking that was the end, but no. C3's huge amount of shurikens end up saving the day. This dragon's going all in. Fighters desperately rushed out here from Andy. And this is a difficult one. This long-range artillery is definitely causing problems for Andy. However, it's not really doing enough to warrant a cost, I would argue. Like, this one's just been ground attacking. Oh, it does look like he may know where the commander is. Here come the ducks into the field of LLTs. Oh, but they turn around before they can do anything. Andy did see... Andy did get his commander spotted, though. Yeah, we may see Tech 3 coming out soon, but just not yet. This may be a bit of a problem, though, as there's no units spare to deal with that. The dragon could go over and deal with it fairly quickly, though, to be fair. And he has noticed that the defenses in front of his commander have been slowly whittled away, and now he decides to run away with his forces while he can. So many mines just got killed in the base, though, from that Juno. And Resbot's just eating up all... Oh, the intrusion system does detect the EMP guys. And all of the EMPs get taken out, but the one there on the side. There we go. Finally, the artillery on the left side gets taken out. And this is looking spicy for Andy right now. You should argue that C3 is currently at a bit of an advantage here, but it's hard to say. Metal income is pretty much down the middle. Army value is apparently very heavily on C3's side. And Andy does continuously just keep pushing into C3 here. C3's happy to sit back and just build up something that he's got in mind to try and push this through. Andy not yet kind of moving to anything that's going to win the game. C3 also not building any Tech 2 units at all right now, just purely building spam. Some great EMPs, and unfortunately a not so great EMP as he EMPs his only units there. A lot of sumos though, and fiends. Sumos seem to be holding pretty well here. Andy being forced back. The only welder that was left is now on really low health. And Andy with basically only anti-air and pawns. Was only building EMP guys. Huh. And now a Baliska getting built by Andy to counter the counter artillery. This is a dangerously positioned one, as I can't click the attack. It can hit the entirety of the base. Not only that, a nuke also being built here. But EMPs hit true this time, and C3 gets a huge amount of his army stunned. And that'll be a massive loss for C3. C3, though, still unable to use most of his economy. As we see, he's currently sat on 11k metal. And as we quickly check the stats here, metal excess of 3.4k. That's enough to build an entire Tech 2 lab. And that is a big loss. And actions per minute, though. C3 actually doing a huge amount more actions per minute than Andy. Surprised we've seen no player take either action on the water side yet, though. Spybot gets detected here as it was badly used. Still no Tech 2 units. Oh, we just see Fiends coming out. These Balliskas being kind of wasted here. He knows there's an enemy army right in front of him. Why does he not fire on that army right now? Oh, the Balliska on the... the Basilisk on the left has been completely destroyed. Doesn't seem like C3 is aware of that right now. And that is not good for C3. Spybots are spotted here with the counter-intrusion system being very far forward. Grunt's desperately trying to hunt down these spy bots, but getting trapped by the welders here. And again, going into a bit of a stalemate. I am surprised we're seeing no Tech 3 yet. We do see the lab built by Andy here, but no actual Tech 3 coming out as of yet. Mammoths starting their slow prod towards the front. Yeah, and this one Basilisk being completely useless. Not doing anything useful whatsoever. This is one very close engagement away from being a quick GG. With C3 being forced back so much. Only that, Recluses have made their way over the hill again. Tech 2 defense has helped. But they can't hit this guy up the hill here. It's a shame this wasn't a defense, an armed metal extractor. That would help significantly. And finally, we see more Sheldons coming out. Oh, finally. Finally, the Tech 3 we've been waiting for. Marauders being absolutely spammed out of the Tech 3 factory. And with 2 dragons, they will not be enough. The nuke has been finished. But will it get a nuke in time? Not only that, but there is still a anti-nuke already built. Tech 3 lab being built by C3 now as well. Don't think it will really be able to accomplish much, as it's going to be a little too late. The scout wave comes in. Andy gets a little bit of an eye into what's going on. He does not see the Tech 3 lab though. Oh, but did C3 manage to just spot? It did not. Well, this one hero fighter, though, about to take out a huge amount of Tech 2 air constructors. The little things, I guess. That's some very expensive build power to lose there. If he gets this before this gets built as well, that'd be cherry on the cake, which he does. Great use of a fighter there. The commander on the left, though, not in jeopardy right now. The long-range artillery kind of doing its job. This is what we're looking at, though. The dragons are ready, and a bunch of grunts are being desperately moved over. Sheldons are on their way too. Now this is the trouble point. Will they manage to kill all of these marauders? One gets killed, and Andy runs for the hills. Very rushed torpedo bombers as well. Won't really be able to pull much off here, as the Marauders do have their own anti-air, but this is forcing those Marauders back. A Vanguard has been built and is moving its way towards the middle. Now this would be a good time to, you know, use the Basilisk against it. But this Basilisk was built and then just completely forgot about. It has not been used at all well. Look at this group of pawns here. One shot in the middle of this would take out basically all of them. But unfortunately, C3's attention has been very much elsewhere. Catapult starts to come out now as well. These are great units. Interesting to see what C3's camera is like right now. He is focused entirely on his base and microing. Has a quick zoom out, see what's going on. He knows that Balliska's on the left. A well-placed Kraganaf here, though. This artillery does come up here. This Kraganaf is just going to go, whoop, hello, and then kill it. But neither player really with a game-ending plan. These Marauders were a very good game-ending plan, but not really ended up coming out that way. Vanguard takes huge amounts of damage, but is still left alive. Kind of feel like maybe he should have just gone all in on Titans. It does seem that C3 is very happy to just kind of sit back. This is working wonders for Andy right now. These Balliskas up on this hill is just slowly whittling down everything. C3 isn't contesting that side at all and is slowly losing metal extractors, and we can see that the scaling nature of the game is making Andy slowly come out more and more on top here when it comes to economy. And you can see that when you look at the map base. Just look at the base there in comparison. Those catapults are one of my favorite units. I just love the amount of damage they deal. We do see actually a few Shivas here being built. Realistically, a shield needs to be built up on this front line pretty quickly here, but none of that being built. Also, this Balliska just doing a pretty poor job right now, not really doing anything. Marauders do attempt to come in again. Torpedo bombers are already there. Slowly whittling them down. And two of them are pretty much dead already. Getting a bit dangerous now for C3 as he's pushed even further and further back, just taking so much artillery damage at this point. And it does kind of seem like Andy's literally just keeping these Marauders here as a anti-air. Oh! Here comes C3's planned attempt to win the game. Here comes a big bombing run. None of the bombs managed to go off, though. I don't know what their target was, but it was like over here. Ah, the anti-nuke. And we don't quite know what the plan here is from C3. We're getting to the 42-minute mark. It does look like... Oh, and forward nuke goes off there, clearing up some of the front line, leaving only basically grunts and 4 vanguards left, as well as a sniper bot. Razorbacks desperately getting churned out to try and defend now. Tech 1 bombers going in as well to try and get some damage dealt. They are probably not going to get to drop their loads before getting destroyed. These dragons not being used, they could probably deal with those pretty quickly, but unfortunately they're not doing anything. As well as this artillery still shooting over here on the left completely aimlessly. Great push.
Game started.
Looks like there was a quick pause there. Yeah, all of this artillery on the left is outside of nuke protection. Bunch of Tech 3 getting killed now by these vanguards. And that was an amazing push by C3, but he is slowly but surely losing ground. Shiva's just taking so much damage from that artillery. There is a nuke ready. Here might be a problem for C3 though. He's pushed everything in the middle, forgot about these marauders, and they are definitely still left alive. C3 are not paying attention right now, and might be about to lose all of his eco as a bunch of the marauders do get fairly distant, and then they turn around. Wow, the two dragons actually able to stop that push. The Shivas here just pushing right into these long range. And Modulo makes a pretty good point. The 1v1 community in bar is pretty good. Everyone tries to like help each other learn and improve, and with that you get some great games like this. Oh, very good EMP. Manages to get two Razorbacks caught out. C3 does have more Shivas, and they are a lot better than Razorbacks, but it's these long-range artillery that just cause the problem. And C3 actually calling GG. And it would have took a little while longer without that, but Andy was constantly applying pressure pretty much everywhere. But that was an amazing game. Well played, both players. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also vote in the poll if you haven't. And I'll see you guys next time.